Just shot this awesome video with my man, Maurice. I hope you enjoy it. It's not every day that I get to talk to a black Grandmaster of chess. Hell, it's not every day that your boy gets to talk to a Grandmaster. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. It was real. It was awesome, man. I can't tell everybody just how glad I am that you guys are going to get exposed to this wonderful individual. I hope you enjoy it. As always, smash the like button. If you love it, share it with your friends. And if it's over the top, make sure everybody knows about it. Enjoy. All right, Maurice. I'm going to just ask this question. Are you the first African-American, even though you're Jamaican, Grandmaster of chess in America?
That's a very good question. Thanks for having me, first of all.
Oh, yeah, we could have started. I'm sorry. Thank you for being on the Zweig channel of success, where we build champions for life. Obviously, I got ahead of myself a little bit because you are a rock star and you are not the normal cut of superstar that we talk to on this wonderful channel that we have. So I appreciate you being on here, taking your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, I thought you were a lot younger than you really are, but I hope I look that good when I get there. So
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate
absolutely, you. Man. So talk to me a little bit about like just where you stand kind of in that hierarchy of, people like us that are grandmasters of chess in America or across the world. I mean, you tell me, you know better than I do.
Well, I was a history maker. I was the first Black person, and Black is an interesting term, as you know. We can get deep with that, but I was the first Black person in history to become an international Grandmaster.
Wait a minute. You telling me like across Africa?
You name it.
In the whole world, you the first one.
Right, exactly.
Ooh.
I know, which is a very strange thing for me. Now, there was some debate that went on about whether or not Cubans, who are very big on chess, whether or not the brothers in Cuba are also included in this Black question, right? Because they consider themselves Latinx, Latino, as opposed to Black. So even taking that into account, I'm still the first Black person. But in terms of Grandmasters worldwide, we do have 3 that are clear official. One, Pontus Carlson from Sweden, who actually represents Sweden, but he was born in Colombia. And Amon Sumatue from Zambia. Okay. So those are 3. And then Kenny Solomon from South Africa, who didn't get his rating to what he needed to get it to, but got the other requirements. So whether or not he's officially won or unofficially won, anyway, that's all up for debate. And then in terms of, so those are the ones they usually consider. They don't consider a few brothers from Cuba, who I look at them, I go, you're a brother. I don't know what you think you are, but that's what I think. And which would expand the numbers. But in terms of history, I'm the first Black person. Whether or not you want to call me Jamaican American, since I was born in Jamaica, you want to call me African American, since I've been in Brooklyn since I was little. Yeah. And whatever you want to call me, that's what I am.
Oh, that's powerful, bro. We talk about where I come from and what I'm about. It's all about building champions for life. And I tell people, man, maybe one of the biggest driving factors in the ability for a young person to be able to get somewhere is to see somebody that looks like them in that position. They may not know them, but they got to at least know it's possible, right? It's kind of that whole 4 mile adage, right? The 1 mile, 4 minute mile average. Once it was broken, there was like 30 people broke it in 30 days, right?
Yeah.
But everybody thought it was impossible. But as soon as someone did it, everybody could do it.
So, well, that said, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Like I take pride in being the first, but I don't relish the fact that we don't have 100 of us. All right. There are about 1,700 Grandmasters worldwide. I think the actual number now is 1,900. The number has jumped. And when you talk about us, we got less than 10. That doesn't make any sense. And I became the only American, so to speak, as a US citizen, to do it. And that was in 1999. We haven't had a young brother or sister do it since in these United States, which to me is just, like absolutely ridiculous. You talk about breaking barriers and being a role model and example, but we have not replicated it. We have had people who have tried. Becoming a grandmaster is not easy. Don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of focus. You also have to sacrifice, because if you're a smart kid, you want to make some money eventually. And chess, even now with money coming into chess, is still not a lucrative profession. So I'm not telling people, oh, hurry up and become a grandmaster because you're gonna be rolling in it. No, it's not what happens. So kids smart Black kids end up going to college and making a living, great living in other things. But still, I would have hoped that one other young brother or sister would have followed in my path and also become a grandmaster here in these United States. It hasn't happened yet.
So that's interesting, because I do a lot of mentorship across the country, across the world, really. And like, I focused heavily in the last 15 years on African American officers in the SEAL teams. Okay. My question to you is, how long does it take you to make a grandmaster? Like if you got the right clay, what's that time frame to actually get to that grandmaster status?
There's no such thing. All right.
Okay.
Grandmasters in part are born, not made.
Yep.
You have to have some degree of talent. It's got to be the right mixture, first of all, of talent. It also has to be the right mixture of attitude. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to be somebody who doesn't take losing lying down.
Yep.
Right? Because sooner or later, no matter how talented you are, no matter how good you are, you hit that plateau, and there's going to be these people right here that's like, we talented too. I don't know about you, but I was gifted since I was little, and I've been working at this game all this time. So you start taking your lumps at some point. And just like in the SEALs, how do you separate the wheat from the chaff, right? Like, who you think you're something? Oh, you think you're fit, but these guys over here have a whole different level of mindset that takes them, right? And that's how chess grandmastership is. Like, yeah, you think you're good, but take this beat down for a while. How are you handling that? How are you going to surpass all levels that you thought you had of preparation and ability, so you can jump to that next level? By the way, when you get to that next level, there's another set of people ready to beat you down. Yep, so absolutely. The combination of qualities that it takes to get all the way to the grandmaster title is not something that you just say, I'm just going to train into easily. It's not like that. You first need the talented kids who are going in that direction. Once you do have those kids, then you need the preparation behind it. You also need the parental support or somebody behind those kids who are like, yeah, we're willing to make this the thing that we do. Like those gymnastics parents. Yep. That's like the swim parents, the tennis parents. You see in King Richard with Will Smith talking about the Serena and Venus phenomena. Yep. You need them. It's like, we're going to do this. So all that has to be in place. And then the kid has to decide, we have to do this in a time frame that deals with high school, deals with college, deals with your life itself. So all of it it's not an easy path. I sacrificed a lot in order to get to the grandmaster title. I could have done other things that made me more money, but my focus was this one thing that I wanted to do, that I was passionate about. And it ended up working out.
And so we talk a lot about Tim Grover's book, right? Relentless, and just having that obsession to get, like, you had an obsession for chess that led you to be a grandmaster, right? I'm sure at some point in your progress, that obsession kind of went from chess to becoming a grandmaster. Is that a fair statement?
On. Well, that was early on. Early on. You start reading the chess magazines and the chess books, and you see grandmaster, and you see them dropping moves from out the sky, and you're like, yo, I want to play like that. So I was just obsessed very early on. I started chess in high school, Brooklyn Technical High School, and I didn't even make the chess club, chess team, I should say. I was in the club, but there are other people ahead of me on the team that were just much better, who had started much younger. You don't start chess at 14 years old and try to become anything in chess. You got to start like 6, 7, 8 years old. And that's where the young prodigies are.
So it's interesting. I was telling somebody I was going to talk to you today, right? And they were like, man, you talked to a grandmaster of chess, and where he from? And I was like, New York, right? Like Jamaica, but via New York. And I said, there's a huge chess scene in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what? And I'm like, I know about the chess scene now. I know a little bit about it. This isn't even from research. It's just, when you go to college and you're like, all right, cats play chess. And, I got a couple brothers I went to school with that played chess from New York. And you're like, okay, like Washington State, Seattle, they ain't banging chess, right? Like, I don't remember.
Oh, New York is it.
Yeah, New York. So talk to me
New
about
York.
that kind of chess scene growing up, how you got involved, right? Give me a little bit of that background.
Well, like I was explaining, high school, Brooklyn Tech, playing chess. We got obsessed. We played every day after school, like every single day. My friends beating on me. Boop, boop, I'm fine. I was like, I went home, got some chess books, studied the chess book, went back, got beat again, more chess books. But then pretty soon, we started visiting the park scene, and New York has a robust park chess scene. All right. People are out there playing chess, talking trash, music blowing, smoking, and not just cigarettes. And it's just like a whole scene. And so we go out there. I lose my money to some of the hustlers because they wouldn't play you if you didn't play for money. So 50 cents here, $1 there, my lunch money. I was a teenager in high school, so I didn't have much money, but I really wanted to play these guys. Eventually, I met a group of African-American, this is like a game changer for me. I met a group of largely African-American players. These were grown men who played religiously. They called themselves the Black Bear School of Chess.
Okay.
All right. The reason why they had that name Black Bear is they say, if you see a black bear in the forest, you must kill it, because if you just injure it, it will keep on coming. So that was the swag of the Black Bear School. Like, it's like, we keep on coming. You're going to have to kill us. So I would play them chess. I met them from the parks, and I ended up going, they saw that I was pretty good. So I ended up being in the apartment with my main man, Pop.
Okay.
His real name is Willie Johnson, old school cat. He would be playing Sade and Dolphy and Miles music. Yeah. We have all the fellas over, and we were playing blitz chess. Blitz is fast chess, like not that slow type stuff where you're sitting and meditating, cogitating. Fast chess, blitz, blitz, boom, 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 hitting down moves. I played with those guys, and from that, on them whipping on me, I would go home, study some more. And I grew in that scene. So there was the park scene, there was the scene with the Black Bear School, and then there were the tournaments at actual chess clubs. And when I started visiting those were different because there wasn't a lot of people like us in those clubs, and they had a different kind of style. They saw a young brother coming in and they were looking at us like, who are these cats? But that's how I grew. Combination of all those, because that's where the grandmasters were. So New York had a very rich chess scene.
So one of the things that I always tell people, and it's one of those things that you wish you had when you were 15 and you truly understand mentorship, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you get the right mentorship early, it changes the trajectory of where you go, period. Because you're able to stay on that path to greatness so much easier than bouncing off the road. I call it bouncing off the road, right? Like that mentor, that mentor that's ahead of you keeps you on the road to greatness and doesn't allow you to take a 2-year deviation to go do something crazy to get you away from chess in your case, right? And so I just want to make sure that, that's the key. And like, for a lot of us, we got lucky, right? I got lucky freshman year of high school. God took a chance on me, 4-star admiral. I ended up at the Naval Academy. Right? With 700 SAT score and completely illiterate. All right. So it's the same kind of deal. Like, you looked up in the Black Bear Chess Club, right? Like, man.
Black Bear School. They call themselves a school. That was just a club. School. That was a school. Yeah. All right. This was education. They were serious. Even though it was just the brothers in their apartments, but they took but you're right. That, it wasn't a formal mentorship. Like, they were saying, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. It was a mentorship through fire, where I had to prove myself every single time I walked into Pop's apartment. Like, we're here to play. We're here to coddle you. And so, yes, having those role models, having them as examples of a level I wanted to get to that I wasn't at yet was really critical. And when I finally did catch them, I knew I had done something. And then when I finally passed them, it was like, oh, and they didn't like it at all. They were like, yo, how do you get better than us? You know, but that's
happen?
what their growth was. It was when I was out of high school, going to college at City College, City University,
okay,
the City College of CUNY. And my growth was rapid. You know, just like suddenly everything clicked and all the knowledge just worked. And it was like, whoa. And I just started beating on people. It was like, it was just coming out the fingertips. I had been working like crazy, though. Don't get me wrong. I had been studying chess books all the time. You wouldn't find me without a chess book. And it was an everyday thing. That's how focused I was.
So you got to the tipping point, right? Like you got to that point where you had put in all the work. And I tell people, a lot of the youth today, they're not patient, right? They want that instant gratification. They want to study the chess book and be able to go beat the Grandmaster. And I try to explain to them, like, look, man, this process that we're talking about, like you and I are big on process, right?
Yep.
The process, I tell everybody, the process doesn't care when you want to do something. The process cares when you're ready to do it, right? And in your case, like you tipped over, what was it like the first time you beat somebody, you know, in Pops's apartment, when the first time that you knocked that king over? What was kind of the sentiment, and like, what was the vibe in there with all that smoke and music playing?
Well, you got to understand, and you know, you talk about tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell talks about those 10,000 hours of putting in the effort. I don't know if the number is quantifiably correct, but it is true that you have to put in those hours. And as you mentioned, process also involves plateauing. You will hit a plateau, and you have to continue with the process, because that plateau is where you're laying down, as Will Smith says in his new book, Will, you're laying down the bricks, right? Brick by brick by brick. You can't see the wall being built in one go. That's not how walls get built. It's brick by brick by brick. So it's that growth, that staying with it, that allows you, that when the time comes, all of a sudden the wall's built. You're like, whoa, how did I get here? You know, like I did all this and now I'm here. So you have to be patient with this process. Now, as far as beating on the fellas, I would nick them a game or two. That wasn't a problem. That wasn't a problem, just because remember, it was blitz, so it was fast games.
Yeah.
I beat them a few games. Like, oh, come on, let's boom, and then they hit me 3 or 4. That's not me. That wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
But I do remember when I started hitting back, and it was punch for punch, punch for punch. And this happened to my main man, Ronnie Simpson, God rest his soul. Ronnie was instrumental in my growth as a chess player more than anyone else in the school, because he was just a cool dude. He was a loving dude. You know, he just did his thing, and he was incredibly talented. And he would take me and beat me up for no money, just beat me up again and again. And he'd have so much fun, laughing, joking, smiling. And he's the one I wanted to beat. So we would do so much of that fighting. We'd spend all night. When I tell you, people don't understand the level of the obsession. I would, on a Friday night, you're talking about a young man in college, on a Friday night, will be playing chess on a Friday night, all night from 9 a.m. Me and Ron would be battling from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. We'd look up and the sun was shining. We're like, damn. And I mean, just swinging at each other.
Yeah.
And that's what those battles, those are hardcore, intense fights, was what prepared me for that next level and motivated me too to want to go home, study some more, come back, fight this guy. And I remember when Ronnie used to be able to spot me time, we call it, where he would take 2 minutes on the clock and I had 5 and he'd still beat me. Okay. All right. People don't understand the chess clock. If you have 5 minutes on the clock, it means you have to play the whole game in 5 minutes. That's what blitz chess is. You've got to, in your 5 minutes, every time you press the clock, the other person's time starts back and forth, back and forth. He could beat me in 2 minutes of his thinking time. That's how quick he was. His hand speed was like Edward Scissorhands, like, just blur.
Yeah.
I remember though, when I started killing him at 5'2", then I started crushing him at 5'3". He said, "That's it. We go straight up 5'5". Let's go." And it was just a battle. But the thing is, I had grown muscles. I had just jumped. It was like, I'm here now. So
Gotcha.
It was a dog fight. I remember doing that. And then he took me to play against the rest of them. And he was one of the top guys in the school. So I was able to handle almost all of them. And it was like graduating, man. you know how it is when you get to the next level and people are looking at you like, who's this guy? So it was definitely a big moment for me to be in that level of Black Bear School.
I think it's really neat. So one of the things we've done with the SEALs is now we got a community of African Americans, right? And the fact that you were learning from other African Americans, there wasn't any sediment about, you didn't have no uneasiness when you went in the room, other than the competition uneasiness. There wasn't some social stuff going on. You weren't being held down. They weren't holding information back from you.
Nope. Well, holding information. Hold on.
Okay.
That is different now. You gotta go in there and go pry. But yes, everything else you said was right. Walking into the room was definite comfort level, acceptance. Let's battle. That's all it was. It was never any second thought to, is this person looking at me funny? Do they think I'm trying to hustle them? I mean, the point you're making, we go to clubs and literally they just thought we were hustlers. We were going in the clubs, and this not serious students of the game, studying the history of the game from way back. I can tell you about all the world champions, past all the way to the present. I can tell you about the famous tournaments, all that. They didn't see any of that when we walked in. They just saw, what they thought they saw.
Yeah, what they thought they saw.
And so we got a lot.
So you put that fist upside the side of their head, right?
They do understand checkmate. They do understand checkmate.
They understand that, right? And then they looking around like, how did that happen?
That's right.
I laugh. I got this new business going on right now, and it's funny because I'm a very unassuming person, right? And it's funny because it's been like this my whole life. No one in the room gonna look at me and be like, "That's the guy." Right now, after they get to know me, everybody understands what's happening. Then they be like, "That's the guy." But I just, whatever it is, whether I got raised, however, I just don't carry myself like the guy. And so it's funny now because we meet new people. And like, I'm running the whole show, and they're going to look to my man and be like, "Hey, Miguel, hey, are you, Miguel, you're the owner, right?" And he smiled. And I always say it. I'm like, "Yo, that's Hefe, man. Like, what do you need?" Because it's just one of those deals where I just kind of lay low in the grass, right? But I understand what you're saying, man. Like, it's good to hear. Like, I take some solace in the fact that you growing in that environment, because that's key to development, right? Like, you got to be in a nurturing environment to grow and to be successful. All right, so go ahead.
To follow what you just said, I also ended up coaching young people to play chess, and there's a team that I coach called the Raging Rooks, and if your viewers look up the Raging Rooks, it's a piece of history that is not well known. Okay. There's a team of kids from Harlem that I coached over a 2-year period. We took a team of beginners. They didn't know much about chess. And we won the national junior high school championship.
Let's go. Let's go.
So this has been talked about for a movie and all that for some time. It hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it will. But it really was that kind of scripted story. It was like, what happened here? Kids we're talking about kids in central Harlem, living as you would assume, stereotypical Harlem, at least back in the day. Nowadays, Harlem is so bougie that is
big money. Harlem, big money.
Yeah. But back in the day, it was real, it was raw, it was hood. And these kids came out of that environment with me coaching them, teaching them chess, taking them to tournaments, and teaching them how to carry themselves and putting the chessboard. And we ended up rocking the National Junior High School Championships. That is the national now. Imagine kids from all over the country, all kinds of different preparation, training, assets, and the like. And we won. And the reason for that is the kids' dedication to the cause, right? Yep. Their willingness to sacrifice. We also had a team behind me, a science teacher named Richard Godonsky, who was 100% willing to help us in terms of travel and the like. But it was them just believing in me as the person who could take them there. And, you know, as you said, with the right mentorship. And now I look at them as grown men. They've got their own businesses. They've got one guy is managing a hedge fund. I mean, it's like, what? He's a kid straight out of Harlem. Like, what?
But
you know,
see, that's
where
key.
you go. That's where you go.
So here's what I'll tell you, right? You know, our whole mantra is we build champions for life, right?
Yes.
So when you start with the right person that doesn't know the path, and you give them someone like yourself, right, that understands the path, you change the direction of their life, because now you expose them to chess. You expose them to critical thinking. You, in your term, retrograde analysis, right? You're exposing them to the stuff that they need to be successful at that hedge fund. Yep. They just don't understand that they're making a transformation from let's smoke weed, listen to music, and chase girls in Harlem to let's change the way we think about how we function and solve problems. And then they definitely ain't thinking about how I can apply that to life and how it all rolls into one, right? Like we got a bunch of megas at the Naval Academy. And it's crazy now because we 18 years into it, and we got a submarine captain right now. We got a ship captain that's been getting ready to be the ship captain second time. And those are two of the guys. We got a guy, you know, you got a guy at running a hedge fund. I got a guy out at PIMCO running PIMCO, you know, the largest conglomeration of money, and they all were the same thing, right? Like the PIMCO kids from Jersey, track star, hothead, didn't understand what he had to do. Man, come over here, man, young boy. Let me help you out. Yo,
there's tremendous energy, there's tremendous desire, passion, and like you said, just want a sense of direction.
Yeah, and like you, like I am, bro. We so much alike, man. It's crazy because, like, I right now is admissions period for the service academies, right? They're getting their letters. Right now we at 7. The number on the board is 7. I got about 6 more to get, right? It'll be the biggest year ever because I kind of, during COVID, I went social media with all my stuff. So I kind of like stop answering one-off questions. But the result is now I'm just getting more phone calls, right? Just had my kid Samuel from downtown DC. Wasn't quite sure he was going to cut it because DC is really competitive because of all the generals and admirals from the Pentagon. And I was like, man, well, he did everything I asked him to do. Cat got his admissions to West Point Prep. He'll be going to West Point Prep next year. And like you getting that same kind of joy, I can tell you talking about your guys, you know, running a hedge fund, is that I love to see other success. And I know I got a little part of it, but at the end of the day, it's them doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway. You
know what? Each one teaches one. And so you know, it's not just my man Francis at the hedge fund. It's not just my man Kassan, who's got 3 degrees. He's a philosophy major and musician extraordinaire. You know, you've got my man Sharu Robinson, you know, who unfortunately passed away way too young. But what he was doing was coaching chess for years. And so here I taught Sharu as a 12-year-old who knew that as a 35-year-old, he'd have little kids looking up at him going, Mr. Robinson, teach us some more stuff. And so we are passing on golden nuggets to the next generation. And they are using those and doing things even greater than we would suppose, you know, as well. So, and in different ways, we don't know how our magic is going to be made manifest in the world. All you can do is plant the seeds, water them, and then watch them flourish. And they're going to take care of business from there. And that's the beautiful thing about giving back and thinking about others first, is that you will be able to see the fruits of your contribution. You know, you're not the only one. And of course, like you said, they have to eventually get it done themselves. But you'll see the beautiful fruits of your contribution made manifest in the world. And you can say, wow, I had a little piece of that. And you'll know because they'll come back to you and say, thank you very much for what you've done. And that's the best joy you could have, I think, as an individual.
Absolutely. I got it's neat. So I'm big on growing people, right? Like I say the same thing you do. I plant seeds in people's heads, and if they grow, right? They were supposed to grow, but then I just water, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
right now I got this young lady named Alexis, man. She's a damn Tyrannosaurus Rex, but she didn't realize it, right? She's a black female. She got some tattoos. She hadn't anybody. No one had poured into her, right? No one
Mm-hmm.
had watered her. And now, I mean, I've known her for 5 months now. She gonna be as good as any of the other ones I got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I work with her every day. I talk to her every day. I talked to her right before this call, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing the growth before my eyes. And it's so much different than I've been used to over the last 20 years because if it wasn't somebody I was coaching in football, it was a long distance relationship. Like 5 out of the 7 SEAL officers right now from 2008 on, I've never met personally. Right?
Wow.
It was over the phone. It was
Mm.
I haven't met them. Right? And they're all killing it. Like the program works. We got it in place, and it's not just African Americans. I got a bunch of Hispanic guys. I got a couple non-minority just superstars. But like I'm not gonna say my focus is on the people that need the most help, right?
Right.
And so she is like yesterday she snapped back at me. I said, "Ooh, all right, we started to get there, right?" Like, and it's so like every day I go to work, I just smile when I look at her. I'm like, "Oh yeah," because she's gonna go to Harvard. I told her already, you're gonna go to Harvard. She got a 3.9 GPA. She ain't graduated from college yet. She graduated from college May, maybe June, depending on her
You mean high
Harvard.
school? High
No,
school, you mean?
college.
College.
She's
Oh,
still in
wow.
college right now.
Oh,
She
okay.
came to me to drive Amazon Blue Van, and I asked her to do something, and then she did it, and I gave her another thing to do, and then I was like, okay, and then she was onboarding everybody, getting them through all the computer processes, and I kept giving
Wow.
her stuff, and
A
then
start.
yeah, bruh. But it's like it brings so much fulfillment because I know, yeah, probably 2 years from now, she gonna step out and she'll go to Harvard or Stanford. We'll make it happen, right? We'll make the calls.
Mm.
We'll get her to
Mm.
Princeton prep for the GMAT. We'll get everything done, get everything lined up, and then she gonna go and she gonna take a big jump, right? Like you said, like right now she got 2 years of growing and getting ready to go to business school, and then she gonna go to one of them business schools and take a huge jump
And kill it.
and kill it because she
And
gonna be like,
you're not going to see those results 4 or 5 years from now, how big, and then 10 years from now, how much bigger, right? And then
I
that's going
told
to
her,
be the real pride and
yeah.
sense of accomplishment, sense of deliverance you gave.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy because I told her, I understand. Like now, having done it for 30 years, just growing people, you understand that at some point there's gonna be a quantum shift, and it's gonna be like I told her. I said, in 10 years from now, you're gonna look back and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm running a company now, like a real, multi-million-dollar company, or I own my own company, or
Yep.
I'm in a position as a 31-year-old African American female to just be absolute dominate the world, right? And it's funny because we had something happen yesterday. We saw somebody, and it's like she has her biases still, right? And I
Mm.
asked her, I said, "Let me ask you this: if I had biases, would I have picked you?"
Mm.
He looked at me and was like, "Oh, she didn't like that
Mm.
cut, right?" But at the end of the day, like I'm gonna grow her every day. I told her she got the easiest process in the world because she worked for me. I grow the shit out of her every day. I water her. I water her with a fire hose. So, all right, brother. Well, look, let's talk about some chess, man. Like, just I know we talked about your background and life and just kind of your philosophies. I know you big on like you call it retrograde analysis, like working backwards to we call it the tree, right? The contingency tree. You start at where you want to do your work and you work backwards to try to eliminate everything that could go wrong. Talk to me about just, like a big picture chess on your life. Obviously, it is your life. And then, if you want to get granular and like maybe a match or something that was just that you feel like was monumental either in the world or in your development, right? Like give me something that's gonna, and I know you will because I watched all your stuff, and your stuff is exactly what we preaching because there's really only one path to success unless you got a golden spoon in your mouth, right? Silver spoon in your mouth. You got to go through the process, right?
That's right.
And the process is the process. It's the same for a grandmaster in chess. It's the same for a Navy SEAL. Don't matter.
I want to back up. I want to even talk about what you just said. You talked about path to success. A lot of people, when you said about the golden spoon in your mouth, a lot of people think of success as a thing, as a destination. Like this is success. I know what a successful person looks like because they've got X amount of dollars in the bank. They've got this size house. They've got this number of cars. They can take this number of vacations. Check, 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 check.
Yep.
And that's a success. That's not a success to me. That's not a success. No, to me, success is actually the process and going through the process itself. Yep. If you are a beast to the process, if you are willing to put the next step and the next step and the foot in front of the other and the foot in front of the other, no matter what the obstacles, and you're ready to look at it twice and three times, how am I going to solve this problem? And you're ready to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what do I need to do? How do I need to change? Which biases do I need to overcome so that I can get to the next level? That is true success, because what you're going to get out of it when you finally get to that finish line, you're going to get all those remembrances, those learnings, those insights, those epiphanies that you gained along the way that you will keep with you for the rest of your life, as opposed to the person who had the silver spoon, who has those results, but they don't have character. They don't have the it that can lead, because people can say, this person has been in the foxhole. This person knows what it feels like, and they're ready to follow you as a representative, as a role model for that path. So, I just have to say that because that to me is very important about the whole concept of success.
That's awesome, because I say it all the time, right? A successful person, like you hear all the rich people talking about this. Give a rich person $1,000 and give a poor person $1,000. The rich person can have no resources, and in 1 year he turned $1,000 into $1 million. Mm-hmm. The poor person is broke in 2 days, right? And it's the same thing you're saying. When you understand the process, you understand how to be great, then you can apply it to anything you want to do.
That's right? Correct.
I can apply, like I tell everybody, I don't know nothing about running a logistics company, okay? I know about leadership, I know about building a great organization, and I know how to be successful, right? I know how important people skills are to being successful, okay? Yep. And I apply all of that the same way I'd run a football team, I'm running this company. The same exact way, right? The result is the exact same. We're the #1 DSP in Texas, okay? And we only been around for 3 months. Everybody gonna say we don't have a track record. I'm fine with that. I got no problem coming to work every day and proving it to you, right? Got no problem getting the drivers and everybody to do it, right? But it's funny because one of the things you said that just resonates with me, the reason the successful people with the silver spoon fail is because they can't get back up, right? They won't get back up. And like you're saying, you got lumps. You was taking lumps after lumps after lumps. If you didn't get up, your passion died, right? Your obsession to be good at chess, had you taken a defeat and not get up, is that resiliency that you need to be successful, that grit, right? That
resiliency.
Yep.
But I want to say something about that. I'm not pushing back on the rich in terms of whether or not they fail the resiliency scale and like as you just described. Yep. I just mean to say that I can't follow your path if your path, if you were born on third base and when you score, you think you hit a home run, right? Yeah, absolutely. So that's not a path I can follow, and that's not a path. So those people in those settings, they have to have the kind of leadership and mentors who actually challenge them, right? So you could be born into means, but then you're going to need to have the leadership and mentor that actually challenge you so that you can also go through some sort of process, right?
Yep.
My kids did not grow up the way I did. I grew up a completely different socioeconomic scale. So I had to challenge them in different ways because they're not worried about eating food like I did. They're not worried about having shoes on their feet like I did. I went barefoot to school in Jamaica because we couldn't afford it.
Yep.
They're not worried about the violence that I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, because that's not the neighborhood we raised them in, right?
Yep.
We made sure that we gave them as many benefits as we could. But then we had to also have the mindset like, but what do we need to do to make sure that they build resiliency and grit and sense of determination in order to be successful? Because they don't have the same pushback, the same tension that, you know, when you're working out in a gym, you need resistance. That's resistance training to get strong. The same thing is mental, that resistance training that I grew up with, they didn't grow up with. So that all those things speak to the path, the purpose, and the process.
So Maurice, I gotta ask this question, brother. I got 3 kids. My kids are young, 10, 8, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a couple things you did to work on resiliency with them. Other than like right now, we heavy in books, right? You're gonna have good grades. Okay. You're gonna do the, as my wife said, who was the valedictorian of the household, you're gonna do the best work you can do every day.
There you go. So I think first,
go ahead.
So teach them chess. I got to say that.
Okay.
I said that straight up.
Two of them are playing.
All right. Playing. Perfect. Get the third one. The 6-year-old is playing?
No, the 10 and the 8-year-old playing.
Oh, we got to get the 6-year-old playing. The 6-year-old is going to be better than the 2 of them. I'll tell you right now. All right. Got to get the young ones playing. The young ones follow right behind and they go along the path. So we'll definitely teach chess. I'm sure that you have them traveling. You guys probably, do your thing when you get the opportunity.
Yep.
Put them in charge of something having to do with travel.
Ooh, I
right?
Like it.
Give them something. Which restaurants we're going to eat at? What activities we're going to do when we get there? Research the plane tickets. Get them involved. Get them involved in not just the sitting waiting around so that mom and dad can take care of everything and then it's all done, right? No, get them involved. Get them involved in that kind of high level involvement where they at least have one thing, or you just guide them in the process as they make some very important decisions. Another thing of importance that I grew up with was martial arts.
Okay.
All right, but you're already in that field, but
we rest.
Okay, you're rest.
Like I'm gonna tell you right now.
You wrestle for real.
You might have to wrestle for a toothbrush or the toothpaste in the back.
Yeah, that's solid.
I tell you right now, don't try to mess around and change the channel on the TV.
You might have to wrestle.
Yeah.
Well, for my growing up years, it was karate, it was kung fu, and then the final iteration for me was a martial art called Aikido.
Aikido. Yeah.
Yes. So you know about Aikido. Well, that was the one that was really the one that touched my soul, my spirit, and taught me so much about how to use another person's energies against them.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was those are the kind of things that I think you make sure that you instill early, you teach early, you bring to them, and and you go from there and you watch them. The other thing is, whatever their passion is that they decide they're going to do, they're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it, right? If you're in it, you're doing it. We're going to be in it. You're going to be in it. That means that I'm going to be in it and we're going to be all in. So what do you want to do? Because we're following right behind you.
So Maurice, I got to share this with you, brother. So I was an entrepreneur from the beginning. Okay. First grade, I was running a trapping business, coons and squirrels. Okay. I'm country now. Country. I was making between $2,000 and $4,000 a winter. Okay? What? I'm talking about big. Like I had $10,000 when I was 10. I had $11,000 in the bank. Okay.
Dang.
So
Wow.
my little man came home, my 6-year-old, he was like, yo, we're gonna start a food stand.
Mm.
To the food stand. He said, yeah, I'm cooking. We're gonna sell it. We're gonna sell it out here because I want money. I said,
Wow.
okay. So then he kept talking about this box because there's a cardboard box. So we got him to the table. And so then we're working on the recipes, right? I went with easy stuff that he could cook, waffles and ice cream and strawberries, right? MFD waffle kit, right? Something that tastes really good that people will stop by the house to pick up in the front yard. Okay. And then I said, well, why don't we make cinnamon rolls, right? We could cinnamon rolls are another easy thing
Mm.
to make, right? He said, nah, Dad, I want it to be healthy. I said, okay, all right now. So what are we selling, Xavier? He said, how about fruit? Fruit is healthy. So then
Mm.
I was like, entrepreneur in me want him to be successful, but then the dad in me wants him to fail because the
Mm.
most growth is from failure.
Mm.
Right. So then I said, okay, maybe we set up a fruit stand, whatever he want, and it don't work. And then we said, okay, why don't we try cinnamon rolls and waffle kit, right? Like, so I'm going through that. It was heavy 2 weekends ago. He wanted to do it on Saturday. And then we skipped a weekend. But then this morning, first thing he said to me was, Dad, we got to get this food stuff. I got to start making money on Saturday.
Mm.
So
Yo, you got a kill on your hands.
yeah,
That's a
yeah, dog,
gangster right there.
it's just funny because like
6.
yeah, he's 6 years old. He like I was the same way, bro. Like
The
I would,
X-Man.
yeah, like I was doing everything, like anything I could do to make money. I started a sewing business in middle school, and I was making shorts, and I was selling them for
Mm.
like $15 a pair. Then I started making biker shorts, the Lycra biker shorts in the late '90s or early '90s. I'm sorry, late '80s. And I had this. I found this place online that had fabric for 50 cents for a yard, and I could make a whole pair of shorts out of a yard of lycra body, And I was like, yo, I was turning them out. It cost me 50 cents to make. I bought a sewing machine. I was sewing all day, So it's in me, but it's just funny because like I know I'm not gonna be able to slow him down. You know,
No, no,
no.
and teach him chess because he's the beast.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell
I'm
you
gonna get
straight
on
up.
it. It's funny that you said that because the two in the last school they were in, they played chess. They were in kindergarten and second grade. They played chess. They're
Mhm.
not playing chess right now, but both the older ones know all the moves. And I mean,
So you
she
got to
only
get them my you got to get them my app, son. You got to
okay.
get them my app. All
All
right,
right.
go in the App Store or Google Play, whatever you got. It's
Yep.
just Maurice Ashley. Just go Maurice Ashley, and it'll
Okay.
pop right up. It's called Match, and it teaches the basics, but it also has skill builders. And
Okay.
I want you to make sure they're all on top of the skill builders
Okay.
and see who can do hard level and who is the fastest. You'll see
Okay.
that when you see the skill builders, because it not only teaches chess, yeah, it'll go through the process of teaching chess, but the skill builders are specific skills that I take out of chess and turn it into one challenge by itself. You
Ooh.
understand? So you're not just trying to play a whole game of chess. It's like, how do you handle a rook? And you just learn how to drill down with a rook. How do you handle a queen? How do you handle these pawns? And it's just one specific skill, and it's time. When you start getting into hard level, it's timed. And you'll see who's the fastest in your house. That's what I want to know. You get
Nah,
back to
let's
me on
go.
that.
I'm on
And
it, bro.
definitely check that out.
Cause I'm gonna tell you, competition in my house ain't no
I
problem.
know it's gonna be like that. It's
Ain't
gonna
no
be hard.
problem.
Trust me, it's gonna be like that when you do the skill builders. Watch.
The problem I got is how much time am I gonna spend on the app? That's the problem I got, because they quick to be like, Dad, let's go. Let's
Yep.
go. Awesome. So let's talk to me real quick about this app, man. So you got a chess app. Did someone help you develop it? Did you obviously you've been teaching it in this life for a long time? How did you get to an app? Like how'd you get to that point?
We haven't really gone into like my full journey. Obviously, I'm an OG, so it's twists and turns and plot lines and the like. But the app actually came about from a CD-ROM I did back in the 90s.
Okay.
I was doing commentary for chess. So right now, I'm not a player as much as I am a commentator.
Yep.
All right. And then people are like, you do commentary on chess? Yes. I talk about chess like you watching b-ball. Like you watching LeBron. When I'm looking at chess, that's how I look. I was like, yo, did you see what he just did? He's beating on him right now. Right. That's how I commentate on chess. So I have a whole different style. So when people found out my style of explaining the game, this one guy named Bob Rice, who was head of the Professional Chess Association, he said, you know, I know a couple of people who would like to, who are programmers, who would like somebody who could explain chess in a fun way. So I talked to them. He introduced me to them. There's folks out in LA. I talked to them and they were like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. This is going to fit kids perfectly because your style is just so much more interesting and dynamic, and it's not tutorial, didactic, boom, pedantic, like boom. So I said, okay, let's go. So we created the CD-ROM, was a big hit, made some good dollars off it. But then, CD-ROMs went out of style, so stopped selling, right? Because new technologies.
Yeah.
And so finally, at some point, somebody says, well, let's do an app. And so this German company I hooked up with, they said, we could do it for you. They programmed it. And so now that's what the app is the modern iteration of it. I do a little trash talking. So be ready. If you mess up, you're going to hear some words. It's not heavy duty. So you're not going to get your feelings too hurt.
Is it doing well for you? Like, is the app itself doing well?
It's done okay. It's done okay. I want it to blow up. So I'm working on making it go even bigger. But the app market is a very difficult market. Yeah. That is not where I'm making, in terms of resources, that's not where I'm making most of my income. Most of my income comes from commentary, which is what I've been doing for years. I commentate on the World Chess Championship, the Grand Chess Tour, the US Championship, all the top events, all the elite players. They roll me in and say, all right, keep it exciting, Mo. And that's how what I do.
You want to know something that's interesting, man. I was talking to my wife about talking to you, right? Mm-hmm. And she was like, yo, she big Steve Harvey, right? Like, man, if she showed me Steve Harvey videos last night, her humor is different.
He's hilarious.
My humor, right? But I'll be like, yo, like, he got that new thing, whatever it's called.
The Judge?
No, is that what it's called, where he's talking to people and solving their problems, like helping them?
No, that's different.
It's like this one-off thing.
Steve is into everything.
He's into everything. So I said, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm about to interview the Steve Harvey of chess. What? And I'm like, yeah, he's taking a game that's historically stoic and dry and, not hip or hop at all. And I already know, like, this dude's on fire. Like, he's Steve Harvey in chess. And she's like, oh, that's a good thing. I'm like, absolutely. So
I've been doing this for years, for decades, son, for decades.
You've been in it.
Since I've been teaching the kids in Harlem, you know, when you teach the kids in Harlem, you're not talking calculus because they're going to eat you up. They'll be like, what is this? We don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So it was always b-ball and football and just bringing all these sports analyses. And of course, when I look at sports, I see chess sport strategy like this. I can't look at a football field and not see pawns and rooks, knights, king, queen. Like, I see movement and strategy and substitutions, the coaching, the boneheaded plays. You got to teach this guy some chess. Matter of fact, I'm starting now to teach chess to football players.
Okay.
So that's my next iteration, because I'm tired. First of all, I'm tired of watching the dumb plays on the field, but I also know it's going to benefit them to see the field in a different way, because the chessboard is all strategy and it's all visualization. And it's all figuring out what the obstacles are, how to get around them, how to target the weaknesses, as you know, as a football coach. Like, that's all it is.
And like with your stuff, when you doing that retroactive, right? When you're doing the retrograde analysis, I tell people, like, the thing that's so fundamental about chess, war, just success, right, is understanding what you're trying to get to. And then understanding, like I tell everybody, like, this is one of my major things, okay? A leader's job is not to lead. But my job ain't to lead people. My job is to grow leaders to lead people. But my real job is to look into the future, see a problem, and then take corrective action right now so that problem has no chance of manifesting itself. The exact same thing you doing on a chessboard. Right? You looking into the future. You like,
always.
That's going to be a problem. Let me make sure I move my pieces around so that I can prevent that problem from ever manifesting itself. It's the same thing. That's why chess, like, it spans borders. It's the whole world. It goes deep into the soul because, I mean, shit, anything you're doing is life, bro. Like,
That's
chess is
it.
life.
Chess is life. Chess is real. Chess is life. I actually have a book that's going to be coming out next year. I signed a
Okay.
book deal with Princeton Architectural Press.
Okay.
So, people can follow me on social media, follow me on Twitter, Maurice Ashley. I'm also on Instagram as well, Maurice Ashley Chess. But the book talks about that. Chess means life. Chess and the correlation between everything in life. And all those things that you do. I mean, when Denzel Washington in Training Day say, this is chess, not checkers, all right?
Oh, yeah, brother.
It's real. It's real. We're playing the real game. This game of life is up here. It's high level, and it is played by people who are thinkers, who are looking ahead, who are planners, who know that mistakes are not permanent. You can always come back from them. You have to be strong-minded first. And yes, talent is great, but preparation is better. And so all those skill sets that we teach in chess are the things that if you are wise enough, which if I'm teaching, you're going to be wise enough because I'm going to tell you. But if you're doing it yourself, you realize, this is all money, like activities for the real world, right? You take all these skill sets you're learning and you're sharpening your tool, the greatest tool in the universe, the mind. You're taking that and saying, now I can go out and rock. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, brother. Look, we at 1 hour, bro. I know we scheduled it for an hour. What's your time look like?
I'm good, man. Just let's go. Well, we need to close out whenever you want to close out.
We good, bro. I got time. I just want to make sure I'm cognizant of your world-class
Appreciate
time
you
over there, brother.
Appreciate you.
Okay, so you talking about the preparation. Let's get into, we talked about the preparation. We danced around a little bit. Talk about your kind of process for retrograde analysis, right? Like I just talked about it from the standpoint of like, I look into the future, I see a problem, I make sure I take steps now, so it doesn't manifest it. That couldn't be any more rudimentary to what you're doing in chess. So why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, for us as chess players, the end game is first. Like I have this thing I call learn chess backwards. Okay. All right. Everybody who sits in front of a chessboard, they want to learn all the rules. Oh, I learned how to pawn, broken knight move, bishop move, king, queen. Okay, now let's play. No, that's not how it works. All right. That the stuff in front of you is so complicated that if you try to play, first of all, in the first 4 moves of chess, there are over 318 billion possibilities.
Oh, I saw that on the TED Talk, brother.
All right.
I was like, wow.
Thank you. You're not memorizing all that. You're not mastering all that. That is not how it works. Wow. What we do is you say, listen, and Capablanca, Jose Raul Capablanca from Cuba, who was the 3rd world champion, he said, learn the end game first. And it's a message that he said back in the early 1900s. And even today, people screw that up because they want to learn the opening first. Gotcha. What they don't realize is once you know the end game, then you know where you're going. You know the kinds of positions that win games. You know the kind of position that lose games. You know the kind of positions that draw games. Once you know that, you can start thinking, okay, how do I get to that position? And that's going to be a position that's more complicated because chess pieces trade down, right? The position simplifies as you go because the pieces are being removed from the board. So you start working with the future in mind. Then every time you see a position in front of you, whether it's from a late end game or from a middle game where there are a bunch of pieces on the board, from the opening when everything belongs, as the game evolves, you start going, wait, the explosions start going on. Wait, that reminds me of this end game. Hey, wait a minute, I can start steering the game in that direction even before my opponent is aware of it. Yeah. All of a sudden they land in a situation where the future has been so clear to you from when you were playing long before. So we try to master the end game, then the late end game, then the middle game, then you work your way backwards. So when you're sitting at the opening, you say, all right, I know how to start this.
And I heard you talking about, the no way you can remember 14 moves ahead and all that. But really what you're doing is you already knew those 14 moves to get to the end game. So is that kind of that different way of thinking about it? Like everybody thinks that you're working ahead, but you're really not working ahead, you're working behind. You're working from the
Actually,
end game backwards.
actually, it's both. So you do train yourself to be able to calculate ahead. But the thing is, a lot of people have the myth that we as chess players can look 5, 10, 15, 20 moves ahead routine, or that we do look routinely. We can, but only in specific settings. All right. Only in situations that are forcing. So for example, if I give check to your king, the rules of chess say you have to get out of check. So if I look at a move that says check, then I know you have to get out of check. You have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
In that setting, I can start to look at what your options are. But if I make a move that's not check and you got 20 different moves, I'm not looking at all 20 moves and then looking at the permutations from those 20 moves and then the permutation to those and those, because then the 318 billion pops up real fast.
Yeah, real fast.
Right? So
yeah.
You don't do that. So what it is for us, we have a difference between what we call strategy and tactics. Tactics is knowing what to do when the path is clear. Strategy is knowing what to do when the path is not.
Gotcha.
And so you have to figure out for yourself, what are the beacons of light I have on the chessboard that tell me which direction to go in? And a lot of times that's the end games that you want to get to. But sometimes it's other things. I mean, many times it's other things. There's weaknesses in an opponent's position that you can exploit, weak squares, the fact that you have a bad piece that you should correct. You should harmonize, coordinate your pieces. You should control the center of the board. You can get your king to safety. You should make sure that your queen is positioned properly. Don't bring it out too soon because the other pieces will attack it. I mean, it goes on and on and on, number of different techniques that we learned that are rules of thumb that stop us from just playing some move or thinking we're just going to look ahead when the possibility is too vast. Yeah. And it's that level of experience that allows us to see the finish line. But if we always saw the finish line, we'd always win. So that's not true, right? When grandmasters are playing, we both see the finish line we're going towards. So the issue is, how do you outsmart the person in the present when both of you have all those skills of being able to look ahead, also to work your way backward and the like? And that's when the game gets real deep and pressure matters, fitness matters, physical fitness, because the game can last 5 or 6 hours, not the blitz games, but the longer ones. And so you better be fit. When you're getting tired 5 hours in, your brain starts to get a little bit tired. How do you work through mental fatigue in that moment? That kind of intensity, raw preparation that gets you through the battles.
Okay, so now this leads me to another point that I did a little bit of research on you. Like I'm a studious dude, okay? And I heard you talking about studying players. So you're going to play a guy and just digging in to his life all the way down to when he was a little kid. Where did he grow up? Everything about him, so that you could have that little bit of an edge to take him out. Talk to me about that. Like we talk about that preparation being key. And if you're playing against another human being and it's a one-on-one game and it's a cerebral one-on-one game, it ain't gonna be much difference between both of you skill-wise. It may be the difference in you knowing that he grew up in Russia, in Moscow on the east side, and they like this little trick at the end. And I see him trying to execute that, even though he hasn't played that trick in 15 years.
Well, it's a bit different, but I have a perfect example for you. Okay. The World Chess Championship, the last World Chess Championship just took place in November and December of 2021 in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
I got the chance to go to Dubai and do commentary for that match for NBC Sports Network.
Let's go, NBC.
All right.
Okay.
You guys can look it up. You can look up NBC Sports Network chess, and you can watch. I would say start watching from episode 6 to episode 11, the last 5 episodes. Okay. You will hear me voicing over my commentary to those matches, and you will be blown away. You will not believe what you're watching. Okay.
Okay.
But as I talk about chess and sports, that's what it was. So, like I said, you can start with the episode 6 is the one to really start with. And you go from 6 to 11, 6 to the end. All right. And you'll be like, what is this? Now, I'm going to have to spoil it for you because the world champion, Magnus Carlsen from Norway, he's been champ since 2013. He was playing against a Russian, Jan Nepomniachtchi. Jan is a brilliant guy, absolute genius, as you have to be if you're going to be playing the world championship match. They were playing, by the way, for 2 million euros, about $2.3 million.
Let's go.
All right. So, all right. So they was winning money. All right. Magnus ends up winning the match after he wins game 6. He ends up winning the match easily. They were supposed to go 14 games, but Jan collapsed under the pressure.
Okay.
Now, you look at a super genius like this guy, Jan Nepomniachtchi, and say, well, you're like a god of chess, one of the top 5 players in the world. You're playing for the world championship. You're guaranteed $990,000. If you lose the match, what are you worried about? Just playing the match. But after the match, Magnus said it clearly, and we had known this about Jan. When he's doing well, he's a boss. He will dominate. He'll just start racking up points and killing people, even grandmasters. But the moment he hits adversity, he starts to get a little shaky. And if you can get inside his head, he has a tendency to get disinterested. And once he gets disinterested, he starts to play slightly weaker moves and his results go down. And then he starts to lose, which in our terms is collapsing. So after he collapsed in this match and he did some crazy stuff. I was like, what are you doing, bro? You're a grandmaster. How can you play like this? Right?
Hey, Maurice, master versus novice, right? I'm like, yo, dude collapsed. He fell under the table and was crying. But he made a little boo-boo. He made a
it wasn't even a little boo-boo. It's the kind of stuff that as a grandmaster you go, that's never supposed to happen. Gotcha. It's as bad as missing a runaway dunk. All right. Gotcha. You are by yourself and you go doink and that was the dunk that could have tied the game and you with nobody around you hit the rim. All right. Yeah. Are you seeing Cash blow layups, like runaway layups? And there you go. How'd you do that? You threw the ball over the basket, but in critical games now, not like some random moment. It reminds me of J.R. Smith when LeBron, he was playing for the Cavs, and they got the ball. It was a time to win the game. The game was tied. They missed the shot, and his guy misses the shot. He gets the ball, and all he has to do is go back up and take the shot. And what he does is he dribbles it out. And LeBron's like, give me the damn ball so we can shoot. And then when he realizes the time's going to run out, he chucks up some damn prayer and they go into overtime and the Warriors beat them. Yeah. It's the kind of boneheaded, you're like, where are you, bro? Like, where are you watching the game? Are you in the same game as we are? That's how he played. But the point was this. He trained rigorously for months and months and months, did Jan Nepomniachtchi. He trained for months preparing just for this match. It was the match of his life. He was going to take down the champion. Epic champion, maybe the greatest player ever to play the game. Okay. And when he got punched, he folded like a cheap suit.
So let me ask you this. Let's go into the strategy a little bit because I know you know this. Okay. What did he do what did he do? The little minutia what was it? The way he was moving his pieces? What did he do to erode at the Russians kind of like resolve? Like what was his tactic to shake him and get him a little bit frustrated?
Recognize it was 14 games.
Yep.
All right. So what Magnus understood was he didn't have to hurry. That's what he understood. He didn't have to hurry. All he needed was to just keep the pressure on. Like you could speak, I don't know wrestling at all, but I'm going to speak to it. If your body weight is on somebody. Yeah. That alone, just the weight. All right. So the sweat beads, you start getting a little bit more tired. You don't have to take them out. Just add that weight.
Yeah.
All right. And every competition is like that. It's like boxing. I don't have to knock you out. Just the body blow. Another one. Oh, there's another one to the body. That kind of sustained pressure will either build diamonds or it'll bust pipes. And that's what Magnus understood. You understood?
I got to send this shout out, bro, on that one. That's the Bo Shap right there.
You know how it goes.
My roommate from college would say that all the time.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Brother.
So this is what's up. Magnus just understood. Just keep the pressure on. Take minimal chances. Take some chances. But like somebody else, Magnus might have been like, I'm going all out. This cat, take chances when they're there, when they're provided. Try a little bit here and there. But just keep that pressure on. Keep that pressure on. Sooner or later, he understood that the longer the race lasts, the more the guy was going to show himself.
Okay.
He wouldn't do that against somebody else. All right. It didn't work against a couple of cats he played for the world championship title before that. But this guy, he knew that would work. And that's exactly what happened. Sooner or later, the guy loses a game, whoop, the doors open, the floodgate burst, and the guy's dropping all his goodies.
And that was it. But it goes back to what we were saying, resiliency, mental toughness, right? Like being harder than that dude across from you. You were saying, you're talking about chess and you said physical fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I tell everybody, like, your brain, it gets weak quick if you ain't got no oxygen in it.
That's right. Nutrition, you better do the good nutrition, the good food. Your 6-year-old talking about, I want healthy food. That's right. Nutritious food to the brain. Fitness is very important. People don't understand. Chess players work out. Nepo lost. See, this was funny. He lost a lot of weight. Nepo, I mean, Nepo Nishi, not Magnus Carlsen. Magnus. What a name, right? You name your kid Magnus. Magnus the Magnificent. You know you're crowning a king. But anyway, the thing that Nepo Nepo did everything right. He lost like 15 pounds. So he was in the gym. He was hitting it. He studied like crazy. But the thing that he needed that was the X factor was the mental toughness, was to know. And I asked him this in a press conference. I said, so what do you do when he was 3 down? And 3 in chess is like being down 3 touchdowns. Okay. I said, what do you do? What did you game plan for being down? And he looked at me and I was shocked when he said this. He says, this was not in the plans. It's like, bro, there's gotta be something in the playbook for when you're losing bad, right? There's gotta be something that says, okay, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna change things up if things start getting a little out of hand? Yeah. Right? What's going to be the plays that we do? Because you can't keep running the ball. Like, you can't, we're just going to run the ball and no, we're going to be Hail Mary. We're going to be doing something. We're going to let it loose. We might lose, but we got to have another plan. Dude didn't have a plan because he just thought, if I go down against Magnus, I'm going to lose. Well, maybe that's true, but you got a plan for that. And you got a plan for what you're going to be feeling. What is going to be in your head when that happens. And you see people have that hangdog look. That's why in basketball, they bring in the subs. The starters are looking tired, man. We need somebody who just comes in and plays free and fresh because y'all think y'all are loose and y'all getting beat down. This is not helpful to us. So the point is Magnus understood that about his opponent. And we do that in chess. We understand certain tendencies. We understand certain preferences. And we say, okay, we're not going to go there. We're going to go somewhere else and see how you handle that. And that's how you get inside a person's mindset, by really studying their game. We got lots of games in the databases and we study them and we come up and say, okay, that's what he likes, huh? We're doing something different.
Gotcha. Fire, brother. Look, man, I'm not going to take no more of your time. I know you got a book. How can people find you? Obviously, I got your app, bro. I'm going to Maurice Ashley app. I'm going to get that for the kids. You got a book coming out. You doing a bunch of big things, man. I can't, it's funny because I said this gonna be good, and then you do it, and you're like, man, this is fire. I told you already at the beginning of this thing, I don't do this a lot, right? I don't talk to individuals, that are already achieving. My niche is the young people, right?
Mm.
But like talking to you, I'm like, shit, I gotta line some other people up. Like I gotta have some conversations like this because like it's just another example where we get to put somebody in front of the world. You know, there's a whole bunch of the world knows you. Like I guarantee you go to Russia, people know who you are,
Oh yeah.
right? Where chess is huge, but in
Yes.
America, right? Like it's one of them deals where you know, like you go to Cuba, people on the street know who you are in Cuba, right?
I know the chess players do for sure. And I was in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and they were like, "You got a lot of fans out here." Like, what?
What?
I'm like, what are you talking about? There's a brother from Azerbaijan, actually, a chess grandmaster.
Okay.
He's one of the top players in the world. He said, Maurice, you don't know. In Baku, they love you. I'm like, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah.
Azerbaijan? What? All the way across the world like that? So yeah, it's a lot of love out there, man. It's a lot
That's
of love.
awesome, brother. Well, look, man, I appreciate the time. Everybody need to go catch Maurice's awesome app. Catch the damn book that's coming out. I'm gonna
My
buy the book.
website, you can go to my website,
Website.
mauriceashley.com. It's simple. It's simple.
Okay.
mauriceashley.com. You'll get all the links to everything I got. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Insta, and you'll get all the news, all the latest updates.
Brother, you got anything else you want to end with? Anything else you want to say?
I want to say thank you for having me. I really appreciate this conversation. I think it's important that we do have these kind of conversations because it's through our modeling that people are hopefully inspired and they end up doing even greater work than we could ever have imagined. So appreciate you for giving me this platform.
Bro, 100, man. I can't say it any better, man. Appreciate it, dog. Let me turn this off.